Greetings. I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about Prezi and this incredible resource as a teacher and what that could mean for you. So to get started, what I would do is I would sign up. So I've already signed up, but I want to show you that if you go to the sign up button, if you go down, you'll see this student and teacher licenses. Now you have this amazing free presentation tool that will be billed $0 per month. How awesome. I'm going to actually log in now because I've already signed up, and magically we're in my Prezi. Now I have two things I want to first talk to you about. Actually, that's all I have to talk to you about. But the first being, I want to actually show you just a little bit about the features of Prezi, just so it seems less intimidating, because as you look at things, you might be like, wow, that looks really intense. I could never create anything like that. It's just like anything, the more time you put into it, the cooler your result's going to be. But the biggest thing I want to show you today is that it's not actually that difficult. And then in the end, what I'll do is I'll tell you how you can actually spend no time on it and just use what other people have spent hours and hours and hours of work on, and you can just benefit from it as a teacher. So here is a Prezi. I'll walk you through the steps. Pretty much, if you're using a mouse, that's the biggest thing that I would suggest if you want to create a Prezi, is use your own mouse and have a scrolling thing to zoom in and out of. I guess Prezi's also awesome on iPads and things like that because of that same like zooming in and out of tool. But your path on the left is going to be kind of your steps. So think of these as your slide. Just like in a PowerPoint, your slides are going to be on the left. It'll show you what you're doing, but it just functions a little differently because there's no slide to slide to slide kind of classic dry what your students are expecting, but you have these different zoom levels, and this is how a video would look right in there, and then you'll zoom out and you'll be at a different thing, and then you'll zoom over to oral exams, presentations, discussions, jing, and it'll talk about all this stuff. Now the biggest thing is for this, with your path button, if you go to edit path and then you take an add current view, a lot of people have troubles with figuring out how the path all works because as you see it's a little bit confusing with the way it's jumping around. But if you just learn how to add the current view, and then it'll take that and put it here, and then you move it up to wherever you want that current view. So think of this as a slide and you're just putting it into position of where you want it. Alright, this is getting confusing. That's all I'm going to tell you. The rest about the path, you can easily search a tutorial and it'll walk you through it very easily. Another thing is frames and arrows. You can always add in different arrows and different kind of brackets and things like that. You can highlight certain areas of text. Moving on to the insert button, which is the one I love so much, is you can insert an image, you can insert symbols, diagrams. In YouTube videos just automatically populate in there once you put the link to them, and you can add in background music. You can add all this into your presentation that will bring that much more visual stimulation or visual imagery to your students and what you're trying to explain to them. Now, there's also these templates. So if you don't want to go through all the changing of font colors and things like that, they already have these wonderful templates set up so you can just put in the information and maybe a couple images. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to exit out of this. There's so many wonderful tutorials and things like that on Prezi that you can easily research if you just type in whatever you're wondering about, or you can even just leave a comment on our blog and I'll try to get back to you and help you out. So I'm going to exit out of Prezi, and we're going to do a little bit of the Explore feature, which is so incredibly wonderful as teachers. So as you see here, I have 79 Prezis currently, and they're all available for people to use. And I would honestly say that I've only created 3 of these Prezis myself. Maybe 4, I'm not sure. But let's say this art history one. So I was looking for Prezis on art history. I found one that was already this is Intro to Comics, which is sweet. But I was looking for a kind of introduction for my students on how comics look because I teach art. And I looked, and this one was already created, and it went through all of the same information, even way more in depth than I ever would have gotten if I had to create the presentation. And what I did was, as you can see here, save a copy, and it's public and reusable. So these are key terms, public and reusable. So if you go to the explore function right here, and then you search, let's do 3rd grade science. So it's searching 3rd grade science, and it has over 1,000 Prezis, which are presentations on 3rd grade science. Now, some of these look pretty cool already. Let's just click on this one. Obviously, what I would do is I would search directly what you want because of how many presentations are out there. But this one's public and reusable, and look at how cool this presentation is. I haven't even looked through this to start off with, but it talks about all these different things that are 3rd grade science based, and it's visually awesome. Now what you can do is, this is the sweetest function. With a lot of, probably more than half, a bunch of the presentations, you can make a copy of them. So I'm going to click make a copy. Now in my 79 Prezis, I just got to 80 because I made a copy of the presentation and now it's mine. And whoever created that presentation is okay with that. And it's just teachers helping teachers. So now let's say I want to edit this, and I can add in slides that I was maybe missing when I created the presentation in the first place. Or when I found the presentation, I was hoping for information, and now I want to add in some more slides because there wasn't enough information on earthquakes. So I want to add in some slides on earthquakes. So what I would do is I would go right here, I would type earthquakes are incredible. Then I would pull up a bunch of earthquakes and stuff like that. And then I would have that in the Prezi. I would add a screenshot of whatever I did, and then I'd move it up to whatever slide. So this is slide 10 or 12, 13, and then I would do 14 and 15 on how earthquakes are incredible and show all these different images. And then I would pull them up to their slide location, which would be right here. And then from slide 12, it would go to whatever you wanted, and it would go earthquakes are incredible, and then it would go to landslides. Anyway, all this information is a lot, but search the tutorials, use Prezi, because honestly, you could have the world open to you in how much time you can save. But not only that, the biggest thing is the treasure chest at the end of everything is how your students will be receiving the information is visually more stunning and visually that much more accessible to get them to where you want them to go, which is going to be, I don't know, to be inspired and to want to research this information that much more. And whatever it is your topic is, I almost guarantee that Prezi has it already created in a more visually appealing presentation, and it'll save you all the time so you can have an enjoyable night and an enjoyable weekend rather than just creating these presentations in all your free time. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed this presentation on Prezi, and look to the bottom below this video to kind of read more text on what I think of Prezi and how incredible it is. Enjoy!